A spaceship wrecked, darn pirates, and the only location your escape pod can reach is a huge derelict hulk. Try to survive and find your way to a rescue shuttle. Welcome to my review of Deck 52 Space Wrecked. Hey everyone, this is Alex, and today I got a new game for you, Deck 52 Space Wrecked. When Alex Aparin asked me to take a look at the game for the channel, I was immediately interested in doing so. Thanks to him for providing me with a review copy. Since this is a game that definitely deserves a playthrough, I'm doing it a bit differently today. I will say a few things about the game, then play through it, and then give you my review at the end. Deck 52 Space Wrecked is a solo dungeon crawler that consists only of a deck of cards that you can get from drive-thru cards. The only other thing you need is a printout of the rules. Alternatively, you can also play the game with a regular deck of cards, but I definitely suggest to use the intended cards. In my review, I'll tell you why. In order to survive and find your way to the rescue shuttle, you move through randomly generated floor plans, fighting enemies and resolving obstacles. Join me at the table while I play through the game for you. Alright, and here we are with our deck of cards. So everything you need for this game is just this deck of cards here, right? That's all you need. In this handy deck box, I think you can also order these cards, the cards just without the deck box, but I think it's pretty cool. And also you need a printout of the rules that you can get for free on Board Game Geek. And you can also get on Board Game Geek the campaign sheet that you can see here. I am thinking about maybe playing through the campaign for the channel. If you like this game or this video enough, then let me know in the comments. I might do that at some point because it's a pretty interesting game, but more on that in my review later on. And also you can print out this game mat here. This is a little bit easier, then you can put all the cards on there, but you don't need to do that. I will play today's game without the game mat, just so that you can see how you can organize your card without the game mat, right? But otherwise, I mean, you just see here where you have to put your stuff, and that works really well. So you can really work with that quite well. All right, so before we get started, let me just quickly set up the game. Alright, and that is pretty much the setup of the game. So there are a few things that I had to decide before playing this game or before setting everything up. So one thing is that there are 3 characters you can play your game with. Let me just get the other 2. So you can either play with the thug, with the marine, or with the scientist. These are the 3 you can play with. I decided to play with the scientist just because I just like that. And you see here the difference is that you get a different starting equipment. So the thug starts with a stim pack with a grenade, and the marine with a pulse rifle. Instead, we will take the scientist that starts with a force field, oxygen, and access card that are pretty handy items. So that's what we are working with. And also, the threats are only a thing in the campaign mode, so we don't need those for this game here today, because I will play through the regular game first, and then we can think about maybe also diving into the campaign. So the threats are not a thing at the moment, so I will put those aside, but we will play with the objectives. Alright, I had to cut here because the judgments were going off again. They seem to be going off every few minutes today. I don't know what's going on. Alright, so we have our action deck here. That action deck is used to resolve challenges, but it's also used for our objectives, right? So we now want to define our objective for this game, and that means we just shuffle our action deck, and then we draw a card, and that is a 5. So our objective is either we need to resolve the Xenoterror or we need to explore it twice. So yeah, let's try to do that. So let's put the objective, let's just put it right here. Okay. So, and then we just shuffle our action deck again. Our action deck just consists of the cards 1 through 5 here. That pretty much is a replacement for a die, right? Instead of rolling a die, like almost, because it's only until 5. We could have shuffled the pulse rifle or the flamethrower in, but the pulse rifle is only shuffled in when we start with the marine, because we can see here the marine starting item is the pulse rifle. Which is good to have that, but we don't have that as the scientist here. And also the flamethrower, I'm not quite sure when you use it, probably for the campaign. I haven't played the campaign yet. I only played a few games of the base game. And this will take up a lot of table space here, so I will have to keep pushing everything around. I might have to switch a few cards just for the recording's sake here. So this is really tough to record because it takes up a lot of table space, but I will somehow try to make that. All right, so and now we can get started. So how it works is I would have to put these this way, and we can always move to the closest card face up. We can always move on cards that are face down, and we need to resolve cards that are face up to put them face down, so to speak. So we start at the entrance, that's a junction, so auto resolve. So we resolve that, and now we can move here. And now we can move to one of these 4 cards, and in order to explore the spaceship further, we will need to resolve these cards. And how we can resolve them is different. So for example, here we have the storage lockers. To resolve, draw a card from the loot deck or auto-resolve. So we can just flip it around, or we can take a card from the loot deck. So it is good to take loot. Loot is of course helpful, but there is one card in here, let me just show you. The power cell explosion. And if we draw that in the loot deck, then we lose 2 health. And then we need to shove it back on the loot deck. So the less cards are in here, the higher the chance is that we draw that explosion, right? And that's something that we don't want to happen. You see here, down here, we have our 4 health. And when we lose a health, we just go to the next card. So you see this entire game is completely card driven. There's nothing, no counters we need, or character sheets, or dice. And I really like that. But more on that in my review later on. So, and then we have the guard bot here. We can resolve that with our cards too. 1 and 2, either we lose 2 health, or we can resolve it, or we can shuffle it back into the map deck and draw something from the loot deck. So 2 of 5 cards, 2 of 5 numbers, we have 5 in here, would deduct 2 health from us. So it's a 40% chance we are getting hurt. And here we have the vacuum area. To resolve, choose either auto-resolve if we have the astronaut rig on top of the health pile. We don't. Or we can pay oxygen. We do have oxygen with the scientists. That's great. Or we can just lose 1 health and discard an action card. Oh, that's not good. And then we have the med bay. To resolve, take the medkit card from the loot deck or auto-resolve. That is pretty cool as well. So I think we will do the med bay one. But before we continue, just a small thing. So our goal for this run through is, as we said, we need to resolve the Xenoterror or explore it twice. Explore just means turning it over, right? Like this. So we have explored these 4 rooms, but we haven't resolved them yet. And then after we have resolved the objective or reached the objective, then we need to go to the graph shaft. Because the graph shaft will, if we are there, then we can leave the ship, so to speak. Okay, so let's go to the medbay. To resolve, take the medkit card from the loot deck or auto-resolve. I definitely want to take the medkit card. So let's just put that like this, and then we take the loot deck, we take the medkit card, which is here, we put it in our stack here, and then we will just shuffle these 2 cards. It's not a whole lot, right? But I can't remember where the explosion was, so that is fine. Now let me just pull that all up a little bit. Now that we have resolved this card, and now we continue laying out cards. There are instructions inside the booklet that show you where to put the next cards. So, and then you put just the next cards. Here are 2, and here are 2, like this. You leave these gaps here because it's also impossible to explore gaps if cards say that you can't do that. Okay, so let me see. Here the data crystal, when explored, put it in the inventory stack immediately, so we can just pretty much explore this card. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's explore this and put it here in our inventory. I don't quite know what we need that for, but we will see, right? And then we will put a new card here, which is another data crystal. Well, let's explore that one too. I don't know what to do with those yet. All right, and then we have the vacuum area. Again, that's the same that we had up here, that we can pay oxygen for. And here we have a security turret. So we can either resolve that with a 1, 2, or 3. So we have a 60% to resolve that. But we could also just keep it for now, because if we resolve with a 1, we can also resolve a Void Beast card, and these are pretty hard to resolve otherwise. So might be an idea as well. So let's see. How about we draw maybe one more card from the loot deck? Well, but then we could take damage, right? Because there's the explosion in there. So maybe we shouldn't do it. We could pay our oxygen here to resolve one of the vacuum areas. That might be an idea, right? So I think I will just push everything a little bit to the right. That is what will happen throughout the game a lot, because the game is just it just needs too much space on the table, and I don't have a huge recording area here. So and then we will pay our oxygen, shuffle into the loot deck to resolve the vacuum area card. That's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to shuffle our oxygen in here. That means we have one more loot card we can get, right? And then here, pay the oxygen, we resolve that. So we can put it like this, and then we draw new cards, and these will be put like this here, the next junction here. Swarmlings. All right, so we can resolve it with a 1, then we get -1 health. Then it's not resolved. Then our 2 to 5 would be shoved back into the map deck. We don't have a 6, so we can never resolve these because we don't have the pulse rifle, right? So we can never resolve this card really. We could maybe resolve the storage lockers. We can just draw. We don't even have to draw a card from the loot deck. We can just auto-resolve it. I think that's what we're going to do for now. And then we can draw another junction. Oh, more Swarmlings. Okay. That is not great. We could also resolve this one. I mean, this has a 60% of being not resolved, but at least being either resolved or shuffled back into the deck. Might be an idea. We can't resolve... Well... We could also resolve the vacuum area by just losing 1 health, right? I don't know. Let's do the Swarmlings here and hope that we can shuffle them back into the deck. So we just shuffle our deck here. We draw a card. That's a 1. So that's not good. So we shuffle that back in again. And, well, we just lose 1 health. So we are down to 3 health. That is not great. Well, how high is the chance that we draw another 1? So let's try to resolve it again. It's a 5, and the 5 is shuffled back into the map deck, so that's what we're going to do. So we will take this one and just shuffle it back into the map deck. Alright, like this, which means now that there is no card, we need to draw another one. Oh, that's a bad one. I don't like this one. That's a Wreck-It module. This one cannot be resolved. I don't like this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to swap these 2 cards. Usually you don't do that in the game, but I will do it now because I can't go in that direction anymore anyway, and I would rather go to the left here on the table. I might even shove these out a little bit later on. Okay, so let's see. Swarmlings. We still have those. We could try the guardboard, right? We could. Do we want to try the guardboard? Shuffle back into the map deck, draw a card from the loot deck. We could do that. Yeah, we have a 40% of failing. So 40% chance of failing. Let's do that. Let's try to resolve that one. That's a 3, and 3 is shuffled back into the map deck. That is okay. Let's do that. So we shuffle that into the map deck. And then we will draw a card from the loot deck, which is the oxygen again. So we have it back again, so we can resolve another vacuum area. We will do that in just a minute. All right, let me put... Oh, that's another guardboard. You must be kidding me. But let's resolve that vacuum area here by turning that over and shuffling our oxygen back in here in the loot deck. Like this. And then we will put a new card here, which is the graph shaft. Okay, so that is where we need to get at the end of the game. So with the graph shaft, right? No? So that means we can just we can complete the current objective, and then we can just resolve it, and then we are done with the game, then we won. But there's one thing that I messed up here. The control room, I didn't even resolve that one yet. But we can still do that. We can either discard a data crystal to resolve the a security turret, right? Or we can just auto-resolve it, but the security turret isn't there yet, right? So I made a little mistake here. So let me just auto-resolve that, and then we have the security turret here. So now we should be fine again. Okay, so let's see. The security turret, guardbot, swarmlings. Let's try the swarmlings one more time. We do have a medkit here. If we use that, then we can restore 2 health. So let's try with the swarmlings again to shuffle them back onto the map deck. That is a 2. That means we can shuffle them back onto the map deck. That is good. That is great. So let's shuffle them back in here. Let's just give it a rough overhand shuffle, and then we need to put a new card here, which is another rect module. I don't like that at all. You know what? It doesn't matter where these rooms are. In a regular game, you wouldn't do it, but right here, I will just swap these two, right? Because these are, we can't resolve them anyway. So here is where we will end everything. So let me just push everything a little bit to the right here. So like this, now we have a little bit more room here. It's going to be hard to film everything, but I will have to push everything around further a little bit more. Also, since we resolved this one here, we also have one more card down here, which is a med bay again. So we could take another medkit card. You can't see it that well right now. Let me put it like this. That is another med bay. We could resolve that too at some point. That might be an idea. Yeah. Okay, so the graph shaft is pretty much here in the way because we can't go further, right? Because we can't resolve it now. So, you know what? I will swap these 2 cards again. Sorry about all the chaos here, but I put the graph shaft down here so we know we need to go there to resolve that. So down here, we can't go any further anymore. We just can't go in this direction here. I don't want to do the med bay now because we still have health. But that means that we could try the guard bot again. Let's try to resolve that guard bot. Maybe have a 5. That would be great. That's a 5. Lucky. Lucky us. So that means we can actually, with a 5, we can resolve the guard bot. That is wonderful. And that means that we can put more cards there. So let me shove everything down a little bit. That's just going to take a little bit here. Okay, like this. Let's do it like this. Okay, and then we can put more cards there, which is pretty nice. So we have the Void Beast. That is not bad because the Void Beast we can actually resolve with the security turret, maybe. Then we have another guard bot. Oh no, we don't have a guard bot. Sorry. Let me shuffle that again. That was a mistake because we only have that card for now. The Void Beast. We need to resolve that first to go further. Okay, so let's see. What can we do? Well, we could try to resolve that security turret now, right? Let's do that. So, quick shuffle here. And that's a 4. 4 means that we lose 2 health. That is not great, so we would be now at 1 health of 4. That sounds pretty bad, but let's take our medkit. Let's shuffle that back into the loot deck in order to top up on health again. Well, not top up completely. We only can go up to 3 now. But I mean, that's better than nothing, right? I suppose. Okay, so that didn't work. You know what? Let's resolve that med bay again. We can take the medkit card again from the loot deck. Oh yeah, would have been down here. So now we have our medkit again. That is good. So we can try to resolve these difficult cards again. All we need to find is the Xenoterra and try to resolve it. That's all we need to do. Right? Okay, so we have the next card here. That is Security Locker. And also we have here the Instrumentation Bay. So Security Locker, to resolve, draw a card from the loot deck or auto-resolve. That is pretty good. And then we also have the Instrumentation Bay. To resolve, shuffle action cards from 1 to 5 and draw 2 of them. Choose 1 to discard. Okay, so we actually lose. We would lose 1 action card. That is pretty bad. Okay, and then we also would have a card down here, which is the Swarmlings again, down here. You can't really see them, but let me just put them like this here. Right, so you know they are down here. They would be right here at the bottom. Okay, so we could definitely resolve these storage lockers. That is definitely possible. But I don't really want to draw something from the loot deck. I don't. But then again, I would also like to resolve the security turret. Let's resolve the security turret first. Let's hope that we get a 1 would be the best, or maybe 2 or 3. Oops, That's a 2. So that means we can resolve the card. That is good. So this one is then resolved. And let me put another card up here and another one there. We need the Xenoterra. That's the one we need. Alright, so the blast door to resolve, pay access card. We do have an access card here because we started with the scientist. That is nice. Also, we can resolve this by exploring 2 cards in the gaps here. And that's what I'm definitely going to do. That means we can explore 2 gaps in a passageway that is already explored, right? So what we can do now is we have the passageways here, and we can put 2 cards here, like in between, because that's like in the gaps, right? Like this, for example, and here, for example, like this, right? So we would just have gaps in between. And now you know why we always leave those things here in between, because now we can explore these gaps here. That's pretty cool. And that's the Xenoterra. We need to defeat the Xenoterra, resolve it, which we can't do because we don't have a 6. We only have 1 through 5. And since we cannot resolve it, we need to just explore it twice, right? That was the other thing. Or explore it twice. Explore twice means we need to get this back, shuffle it back into the map deck again, and then explore it again. We shuffle it back into the map deck with anything. With a 1 to 4, we lose 3 health, but we shuffle it back. And with a 5, we shuffle it back as well. But minus 3 health would definitely kill us, right? But we do have the force field still. With the force field, we can shuffle this into the loot deck to cancel any amount of damage delivered by 1 strike. 1 strike means just one source of damage, right? So we would definitely use that in case we need to shuffle it, in case we lose 3 health, because otherwise we would die. So that is a 3. That means we lose 3 health, but instead we will use our force field to be safe here. Shuffle that back into the loot deck. And this one is shuffled back into the map deck. And let's hope, we don't have a whole lot of cards, let's hope that we will soon get the Xenoterra again. Because, right, we still have that gap here. Okay, I didn't shuffle too well, I guess, but I think that's okay. So we have the Xenoterra again, so we explored it the second time, right? Because it's there the second time. So now, right, so imagine like we are walking around the space station everywhere, and we were walking, let me push down these swarmlings because we don't need them anymore down here. So we explored that Xenoterra a second time, right? And then we can walk down to, where is it? To the graph shaft that is down here, right? We just walk down here and complete our current objective. And that is, that pretty much we won the game, right? Because we explored the Xenoterra twice. And then we went to the graph shaft. So that was not too difficult. This just mainly means we need to explore the spaceship as far as we need to in order to encounter the Xenoterra at some point, and then we need to survive like the first attack of it with the 3 health. But I was only able to do that because we had the force field, right? If we hadn't had that, we definitely wouldn't have won. So that would have been tough. So we probably would have lost otherwise. This time we won because I knew I could do it. Well, otherwise I probably would have used the medkit instead to heal up, to heal back up to 4. Then we would have at least survived the hit. So anyway, I think we would have won. And that is pretty much how you play the game. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is all also explained in the rules pretty well. So if you print out the rules, then you see everything that you need to do. And also you know what explore and resolve means and everything. And also you have like a pattern, how you have to lay out the cards. It's one thing that you need to learn first, but it's not that hard actually, right? And you just need to leave those gaps here. That's the important thing. But apart from that, yeah, that was my playthrough. And now let's head back over to the other room so I can give you my review. I really like the game. It's a really neat package. Let me tell you why. First of all, the artwork is really good. I like the design of the characters, items and monsters, and the general design overall. There just are some nice details here. Also, the quality of the cards is solid. The cards are the obvious centerpiece here. They're used for everything. The designer could have added dice for the challenges. Instead, he drew 1 of 6 cards for resolving a challenge or enemy. A meeple could have been added as well, but it's not necessary here. Room cards block your way, and when they're resolved you can go anywhere. There's no movement points. That makes the gameplay much more intuitive and faster. And that's the next positive. The game is not only simple, but it also plays really quickly. That is just wonderful. Deck 52 also has quite a bit of variety with the different objectives for each game here. Additionally, the cards are always in different places, so it never becomes stale. But even better, there's a campaign mode you can play through. All you need to do so, besides the deck of cards, is this campaign sheet. This will give you even more content, especially with the threads that are then added to the game. This is a really nice touch, and also there's a game mat that you can print out. I would have really liked the rules to be included with the game instead of having to print them out. Maybe it would have been possible to put them on additional cards. There's still room in the box after all. That way you would really only need this deck box while still being able to glance at the rules. Maybe you could even print the campaign on cards. Also, be aware that the game takes up quite a bit of table space as you saw in my playthrough. Just something to keep in mind. All in all, this is a really neat dungeon crawler in a very small package that plays quickly and is light on rules. The addition of the campaign makes this a really worthwhile game. If you like what you're seeing, why don't you head over to Drive-Thru Cards to check it out yourself. I'll put the link in this video description as usual. And congratulations, you made it to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching in case you're still doing so. I highly appreciate that. Also, no matter how difficult times can be, remember to never give up trying to do what you really want to do. Anything is possible if you set your mind to it. Alright, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you let me know in the comments. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Take care everyone, and cheers.
Thank you.